All right, let's get into this next story. This is from the Citizens Times from March 5th. North Carolina black bear deer hunting seasons passed despite public disapproval. In its February 2022 meeting, North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission voted to adopt proposed rule changes for the upcoming season, including a measure that would significantly expand the length of bear hunting in the mountain region. The commission voted to adopt a total of 36 changes to regulations after making a few amendments. The newly approved Wildlife Commission rules include adjustments to the bear and deer seasons, as well as reclassification what it means to be hunting under the influence. Governing body, which requires get public comment, and any regulation change received over 1,400 responses and over 650 comments for the proposed changes, according to spokesperson Anna Gurney. The bear hunting expansion, which will add 9 days to season and create Saturday openers for the two segments, was met with the most public input by a landslide, with 69% of the 646 saying that they do not support the change. There's a quote here that says, "It is not surprising whatsoever that the Wildlife Commission went ahead and adopted these proposals," said Bill Lee. Yeah. A retired U.S. Forest Service employee and bear photographer for over 30 years. And he goes on to say, they have to get public input, but they don't have to listen. So what concerns were raised? So again, typically I'm generally in favor of extending hunting seasons and, providing more opportunity to people. But there are some drawbacks to, especially in this instance, that, going forward for, other states and regulations that you should take in consideration in regards to conflicts between hunters. So many of the public comments raised potential issues having an overlap of bear and deer hunting during the second segment of the bear seasons. Some suggested this will lead to bear dogs being shot and illegal taking of deer using bear dogs, less opportunity for youth hunters to bag a deer, and even violent disputes. So again, looking at it, that's what the big concern is that though now you have the bear hunting seasons and the part of their main hunting deer season is overlapped now. So the opening of gun season on Thanksgiving week has been the standing tradition for young hunters who are out of school and hunt with adults in rifle season. One anonymous public commenter wrote, "The change of season where deer and bear hunting collide would lead to either running a deer with dogs or bear dogs being shot by deer hunters." Brad Stanbeck, a District 9 Commissioner, the District 9 Commissioner for the most western part, told the Citizen Times March 4th that the season overlap issue would mostly a trade-off between concern of bear hunters and deer hunters, making it impossible to please both sides. When it happens, Stanbeck said gives more credence to the commission biologist's recommendations. So Stanbeck highlighted how the two seasons have overlapped in other parts of the state for years with no conflicts. He also said that they received comments from bear hunters stating that they don't see any potential conflict because bear hunters typically stay in more remote areas than deer hunters. A lot of the disapproved comments came from the outside of District 9, and a substantial number of them were from anti-hunters who did not want to see bear hunting happening at all. Stanbeck said their concerns seem to be more political issue than would be taken up by the NC General Assembly rather than a wildlife management issue to the jurisdiction of the NC Wildlife Resource Commission. So that's an interesting twist that I probably should have seen coming from within this story, is that a lot of the the outcry is from anti-hunting groups. If that truly is the case, I'm not surprised in that instance. Bear hunting across the country has had significant pressure from anti-hunting groups to cut back on bear hunting, limit the game ways of take, baiting, running with dogs, that type of thing. They are just trying to pick away at bear hunting across the country. So it is interesting that he makes this comment that a lot of the anti-hunting individuals are the ones that are most up in arms about the bear hunting. Again, I do see that there could be some potential for some the dispute, but again, there are a lot of areas that do have a little bit of overlap. Here in the state of Michigan, the second part of the bear hunting season is during the archery season as well. So, there is some overlap here in our state as well in regards to the bear hunting and deer hunting. And then the story goes on to say, what exactly are the changes that are being made. So the start date of deer gun season will remain as proposed, changing from the traditional Monday before Thanksgiving to Saturday after Thanksgiving in western North Carolina counties. However, the amendment will allow youth hunters under the age of 18 to deer hunt on Thanksgiving Day and the Friday after. All right, so as a deer hunter, I would be upset about, having changes to where I wasn't able to hunt, during the week of Thanksgiving and had to hunt after. Yeah, I'd be upset about that if I was a deer hunter. The black bear hunting will be expanded by 9 days in October, with Saturday openers as proposed instead of the beginning of Mondays as the season traditionally has. And depending on the specific location, the second segment will start on Saturday after Thanksgiving and run through the beginning of January. Bear hunters will also be able to use unprocessed bait during the second segment of the mountain bear season. Sandbag goes on to say, previously told by citizen times that the bear population in the mountains is growing 7% each year. The growing population has caused problems such as roadkill becoming a major source of mortality. And he goes on to say the longer bear season will probably result in more bears being taken, and a certain percentage of them will be pregnant females, time I said. But the extension of the bear season in this first segment, pregnant females tend to den earlier than males, but that would only impact the second segment of the bear season. Before these new rules become in effect, August 1st, it will be filed with the Office of Administrative Hearing to go on before the NC Rules Review Commission for approval, according to Gurney. So I guess lastly too, according, from what it sounds like from Wildlife Resources side, is that they are really wanting to, get some more bears taken off the landscape. And again, he mentions that they have a 7% increase, which, each year, that's a pretty significant growth. Basically, last I kind of heard is that, if a bear population is kind of left at its own accord, it'll generally grow at a 10% rate. And that's, not taking hunting into consideration. If there was no hunting in the area, if they're just left to their own devices, is about 10%. So they are seeing still a significant growth in their bear numbers, which again, if they're increasing number of, like they said in the story here of, bears getting hit on the roadways, you're going to have an increased number of problem bears just because of the higher density. So I get the idea of trying to increase the bear season to, boost harvest numbers. But again, as a deer hunter, I would be again upset about, shortening the deer season. But interesting nonetheless on what their stance is and how they went about, making these decisions, even with a significant number of individuals that voiced their opinion against it. Again, sounds like some of the anti-hunters groups or individuals weighed in